first of all, Julian Edelman is 100% right. There's always this misnarrative about Bill and what
you've said it several times.
Yeah, it's just because when you don't let somebody in and they don't know you, they assume. And people would assume that he can't work with somebody. He has to have full control. All coaches want to work with people they respect and they trust. All coaches. Julian is 100% right, okay? When you look at Bill Belichick and what he was able to do in New England for those 20-plus years, there were people around him, especially at the start of all of this, that he knew for a very long time
that is true.
Coached with.
And you've made the point that he began to struggle as they went elsewhere.
As those people went elsewhere, things started to shake a little bit. He respects Howie Roseman, not just because he beat him in the Super Bowl, but they're kind of the same type of guys. What I mean by that is they didn't play professional football.
Nope.
They worked hard
I don't think Howie even played high school football, but go ahead.
They have not even played high school
Bill was more
football.
of a lacrosse player, Division III.
Exactly. So they've built the things that they were able to accomplish based on coming out of nowhere. Okay, Bill was basically just a towel boy at the start of his career, and then all of a sudden, he just boom, 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 his coaching career. Same thing with Roseman. He just was a guy that wanted to be in the building and run a team someday. He got the opportunity.
He did.
And won Super Bowls by doing it and building teams by doing it.
Yeah.
So when you align those two minds together, now the job is not, first of all, let's say the job is not available.
Yeah.
This is hypotheticals and what ifs. All of a sudden, the Philadelphia fans, which the Philadelphia Eagles front office, they listen to. The Philadelphia Eagle fans are loud. And now that his name is trickling into Philadelphia, people are going to get hyped about that because right now they're down on a coach. By the way, in 3 seasons, they've gone to the playoffs 3 straight times and a Super Bowl appearance that they probably very easily could have won if Jalen Hurts didn't somehow lose the football.
Agreed.
And now they all down in Philadelphia or the head coach, which is mind-boggling to me. They're about as delusional as the Dallas Cowboy fans are.
Yeah.
Now, if that job becomes available and Bill goes there, they do have some issues on defense. They're a little bit older with Fletcher Cox and company. The Slay and Bradbury, are they the same type of corners that they once were? Can Bill fix that in the secondary? They got Kevin Byard back there. He didn't live up to our expectations of him once he got to Philadelphia. But
your expectations.
Well, I say our, not yours, but me and Richards, potentially.
Correct.
But look, man, it doesn't diminish what he is as a player because he got there mid-year. And he's got to learn and do all sorts of stuff. Anyway, as I would say, Skip, it fits. It fits. But does Bill want to deal with a fan base that is impatient when things don't go their way, like the Dallas Cowboys situation? You talk about spoil.
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagle fan base, I can't even find a word for them.
But they're like
crazy.
But they're viciously spoiled.
And they're viciously spoiled.
We saw the video yesterday.
The guy throwing popcorn on the head coach. Imagine if that was Bill walking out the tunnel and you walking in the tunnel and you throwing popcorn on him because he didn't advance your team beyond the wild card round. So
by the way, security was prompt and they jumped right on it.
I get it, but is that something that Bill wants to deal with every single day? Although the Massachusetts, Boston fan base can be a little weird at times itself and unsatisfied because they are legitimately spoiled, whether it's the Sox, whether it's the Patriots, whether it's the Celtics, whatever it is up there, the Bruins, they've won championships.
It's a winner's town.
And they go crazy when it doesn't happen. Can Bill deal with that in Philadelphia? Does he want to deal with that in Philadelphia? Or is Atlanta a better landing spot for him? And I don't know what's going on with the Chargers.
By the way, another report, I think it was Ian Rappaport, said Bill is meeting again with the Falcons and Arthur Blank. So I don't know if that indicates more interest on both sides, if it's starting to take shape and it's going to happen. All I know is I'm going to try to be objective about this because I've told you before, I grew up hating the Eagles, so I still have that in me. It's been a division thing. I've never liked, I've gone to so many games in Philadelphia, and that you want to talk about rabid. It's like, oh, it's a tough place. I just remember so many times I would sometimes travel with the team to Philadelphia, and the people who worked for the Cowboys would take groups to Philadelphia, and it was the one place in the league that they would tell everybody, you cannot wear your cowboy garb when you go to this. It was the old vet, remember?
Just a real quick story.
Yeah.
I was getting divorced, and we were playing Philadelphia, and I come out for
What
warm-ups.
year approximately?
This was our championship year
Okay.
that we went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And I come out the
02.
tunnel. Yeah, 02. I come out the tunnel, and I'm warming up, and it's probably, 60,000 fans at this point in the stands, and they all start chatting. Keyshawn, where's your wife? Where? It was all I could do was laugh. I couldn't get mad at it.
All right.
It was pretty brilliant on their part, but yeah, they can't be ruthless.
Did it distract you during the game?
Not a chance.
Did you have a good game?
Oh, yes.
Did you get even with them during the game?
I think I scored our second or last touchdown.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you won the game.
Oh, yeah, and we went on to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
It was pretty funny, though.
Good story. All right. Okay. So now being objective about the Eagles, I do think Bill would. This is the best.
He would scare
fit
y'all.
for Bill. He would scare me because I'm not a big Belichick fan either, and I keep telling you the stats if you don't mind repeating. Without Tom Brady in his career as a head coach, he's 64-85. So unless Tom's going to come out of retirement and take Jalen's place, that wouldn't scare me all that much. But Bill would be a great fit there because I told you from day one, I first guessed this. I said that Eagles defense is way overrated. I told you that. I told Richard that. You vehemently disagreed with me. They got to 10-1, and I kept telling you the defense is flammable, torchable, and it fell apart to the point it fell to 30th in the NFL in points allowed. 30th? And on paper, you look at all those names and you say, whoa. Nope. The two corners, I know they got reputations, but they weren't covering anybody by the end of the year.
But is that scheme or is that talent?
And they lost their coordinator. They did.
But is that scheme or is that talent? That's what you have to, when you are looking at these situations, you have to pin that down.
Yeah.
Is it the scheme that's putting them in bad situations? Or is it their talent has eroded to the point, no matter what scheme you put them in, they're not going to be good?
I think they're aging, but it could be some scheme. And obviously, we talked about this in my history, in my career. I've never seen a defensive coordinator demoted or kicked upstairs at mid-season.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And Coach Pencil took over, as in Belichick.
That was a bad Sirianni. That was a bad deal on his part to do such a thing.
It was. There are times when, I give Nick Sirianni what he'd done for the previous couple of years, but there are times when he comes across as some kid who was just walking by the stadium one day on the street, and Howie Roseman went out and tapped him on the shoulder and said, would you like to be head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles? Sure, I'll try that. And he seems like a good guy, but not a particularly charismatic, strong guy, like a dynamic leader like we talked about. McCarthy's not. It felt like he lost the football team down the stretch because that's 6 out of 7 is a lot of losing. And I don't want to see popcorn showers on his head because that's beneath his dignity, obviously. I was just pathetic to me. But the point is, it did feel like he lost the team. And the one big difference between Jerry Jones at this point at age 81 and Jeffrey Lurie is, Lurie and Howie will plunge now. They'll do some things. They got a few
more plunges in
They got plunges in them. They do. That's exactly right. So would it shock me if they were right in the Belichick Derby right now and they were trying to figure it out and pull it off? Maybe they would say, we need to see if we can get Bill before we let go of Nick. It's possible that there are a lot of musical chairs operating right now as we speak. But I could see where he could be the best fix for them because I do think Jalen is a dynamic leader. He got beat up, as he is wont to do. He had a knee issue that may need some cleanup in the offseason. He busted up his middle finger, as we know, and dislocated it. He wasn't quite right at the end of the year, and Troy Aikman on the telecast the other night said, I'm not going to be surprised if he needs some sort of offseason cleanup surgery on his knee. So I give Jalen those breaks. But in the end, could Bill sort of reignite the locker room and the fire and the urgency and Yeah, when I heard that, sometimes you hear something, and the moment you do, it clicks in your head. That clicked in my head like, that would make sense to me.
And let me say this, though, Skip, because I'm not going to gloss over the fact that you continue to keep bringing up Bill's record with and without Tom Brady. The facts are the facts. He didn't win all that great in an unstable environment in Cleveland with a lack of quarterback play.
Yeah, they lost 4 out of 5 years.
Then he goes to New England, and he's turned the program.
5-11 the first year.
He turns a program around in his second year as a head coach, and then they go on a 20-year run.
Okay, but he didn't turn it around. They go 5-11, and then they were 0-2 when Drew Bledsoe got hurt.
And they turned it around.
Okay, well, because Tom fell out of heaven into his lap.
God, stop. Anyway.
Start.
What are you talking about? He fell out. He drafted the dude. He drafted him. He kept him, and they developed him. 5-11 in the first year, taking over a team that you got a brand new coach in house. Then you go 0-2 to start
Keyshawn, you're missing the boat on this one.
No, I'm not.
I know an assistant coach on that staff who told me that at that point when they fell to 0-2, he said, I was thinking of putting my house on the market.
That's his fault.
Because I didn't think we were going to last much longer.
You know how many coaches that I've spoken to over the years. I just take two of my coaches. John Robinson took over for Rich McKay.
Know him well.
And I think, not Rich McKay, John.
Yes.
Actually, I just saw JK the other day.
Okay.
John McKay, and they started off 0-2. SC, the alums, was ready to tear his head off.
I know him. Yeah.
Then Bill Parcells took over for the Giants, and they started off losing. And LT and everybody like, man, what the hell we just hired? And then the rest was history. Okay. So I don't get caught up in the beginning stages of a coach's career. You can't.
Okay.
Because it's a new foundation, a new program. Pete Carroll didn't hit the ground running at Seattle or with USC. We was like, why in the hell would we hire this dude? Okay. And eventually, the rest was history. Okay. It happens.
But I
want to say this.
Yeah.
When you talk about Tom Brady gets some credit, no question about it. He's phenomenal. He's all of fame. He's everything.
That's the most obvious statement you've made in the history of this show.
But the head coach gets credit too. Now, he goes from Mac Jones in Zappy to Jalen Hurts. To a real quarterback in this league.
Quarterback. He is.
So now I got a quarterback.
Yep.
I should be able to win multiple games and possibly a championship with that type of quarterback.
Okay.
I can't. If he goes in there and they go 7-10, now you can come to me, Skip, and go, see, I told you. But they not if he took that job.
So the final irony of this, Julian Edelman says, obviously Bill's forte is defense, yet in a Super Bowl against that team, he gave up 41 points, in part because he benched the one player, Malcolm Butler, who had played the most defensive snaps on his defense that year.
I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was.
Nobody knows.
Say it to this day.
It's one of the great mysteries in the history of Super Bowls.
But I could also counter you about defense because they played the second greatest show on turf in Sean McVay and company and shut them down. What did they score, 3?
Yeah. Okay. But he gave up 41 to the backup Eagles quarterback.
It doesn't matter.
Whew. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.